So once again, I'm here. It is Sunday. It is Ora Valley. We are cooling off. The weather is getting great. I'm here again to create another post, and this time I'm gonna chat. I want to chat a little bit about narrative. All right, when dum dums follow dum dums. All right, I'm gonna put it that way because you'll get a little bit of a gist of what I'm trying to talk about. All right. This I usually try to blend this into my situation because I'm the one that's advocating for myself, and I got it. I'm trying to make points so that way I can grab the attention of some folks to try to help me out. Right. All right. So narrative. Uh, let's see. I need to raise a little bit. Oh, I got this on this guy. Let's get, I believe it's this one here. No, it's not that one. It's this one here. No, it's not that one. That one there. There it is. There it is. And so, uh, the narrative. So, all right, I'm gonna put it this way, and so that way the perspective you guys can get an idea in a situation. All right, that I had at the VA. All right, so at the VA. All right, I'm. This was about 2 years ago, I believe. It had to be less than that. It had to be about a year and a quarter that I was going through this COVID. Okay, COVID. Everyone has been affected by COVID, whether you like it or not. Right? Yes. God bless everyone that has been affected by COVID, your family, right? And what was wrong about that whole situation with COVID, all right, the China virus, was that it got out of control to create a narrative, all right? And that narrative was that this virus was going to kill everybody, all right? And that's the way the people took it, all right? Now, when you're a leader, all right, our country, the United States of America, is a leader. We are leader of the world. When something happens to our country and it creates a narrative, everyone else follows that narrative. All right. So keep that in mind that whatever happens to us, everyone else just goes along to get along. All right. So when something happens here in the United States of America, everyone else in the world follows it. Okay. So it's like monkey see, monkey do. All right. I just want to get that across because that's what happens. Everyone thinks that, everybody thinks that they have their own individual mind and they do what they want to do. Well, that didn't happen, did it? No, it did not. So in the COVID situation, I'm having problems with my progression of my central nervous system dysfunction. Okay, I have episodes that I go through in which I get stiffness, body, and I can't move. Yeah. I mean, I literally, it's tough for me. I'm trying to move, and it's difficult for me to move. It's like my body just goes into freeze mode, right? So I was having some, and I believe it could have been happening when I was having this chest pectoral, area. I was having problems with it. It was starting to become dysfunctional. It wasn't working anymore. All right, and so this wasn't working anymore. It stopped working. So I was having chest pains, chest area down to the bottom rib area, pains, all sorts of discomfort, and I'm losing the damn function of my pectoral. I'm losing the function of this area. Okay, what would you do? What would you self-assess? You're like, what's going on? Oh shit, I'm losing some. I'm having a heart attack. Right? That's probably what most people would have thought. Okay, so I already knew that by having experience with losing multiple parts of my body already, that it was the dysfunction of of my central nervous system. So I wasn't that concerned that I was having a heart attack, but because I'm not no one has addressed my issue and has helped me to understand what's going on medically, then I'll get a little worried, right? I don't have all the information I need. All right, so I was thinking, well, should I go into the emergency room because I'm having chest pains, starting to hurt my chest area. And so, of course, other people that are around me, of course, are of course, go into the emergency, you big stupid, right? I mean, get it at least recorded that you're having this issue. And there's just another example of the VA ignoring your medical issues. Writing it down does not acknowledge that you're taking care of my issues, VA. All right. I just want to point that out. Okay. I can write down a bunch of stuff. It doesn't mean that I'm getting it done, that I support it. All right. So I'm having this issue, right? I'm having an issue. And the narrative with COVID is already well into its, I don't know, it's people really supporting the fact that there's a lot of confusion with knowing what COVID is, how it's supposed to be treated. There's a lot of things going on with it, right? We're not. People are starting to learn that certain things kill the virus. Oh, it's just another flu, but it really got out of hand. It really did. You got people in our country and in any country who are hypersensitive to lots of issues. They think they're better than everybody else. They they have this sensitivity of, we need to take care of certain things or else. Don't let it affect me because I know better, and I'm better. I'm better knowing person than the next person next to me. There's a lot of folks like that. And everybody came out of the woodwork. Let me tell you, everybody that was overly sensitive came forward with their stupid attitudes. I tell you, if it wasn't people like myself, I'm a cool cat. Okay, I'm like, well, hold on a minute now, right? I just don't jump to the gun. I just don't jump to the gun. I think about it. If I have to jump to the gun, then I do, right? But that's going to take something other than somebody just telling me, "Hey, you need to, stay inside." Like, wait, what? You know? So if it wasn't for us people like that, there's a lot of people like myself, right? I'm not the only one. A lot of people like myself who use sensibility, right? Who aren't shaken very well, aren't shaken easily, right? There's a lot of people like us. Well, we're the people that make shit happen. I'm telling you. We're the type of people that if something's going on around us, we're the ones that always have the shit in control, right? We're the one because it's in our nature to do it, right? something about just the way the Lord made us has that's how it works with us. All right. It's not like I went to cool school, right? Like learn how to be cool. No, it's just the way it is. Some people panic under any circumstance, other people don't. I mean, you really have some people, you really have to wake them up. I mean, I'm not bad, like where, there's a tornado and I'm like, yeah, I'll wait until it actually comes to my front yard and then I'll book it. No, that's just dumb. Okay, it ain't that bad. But, you know, the COVID situation really got out of control and it took off and created its own monster, right? I mean, I don't know if any of you guys had situations with the COVID going around and somebody telling you something when you go to a store or your laundry or you're outside or I don't know something. I've had somebody at a store tell me that I need to put on a mask. I was not a mask wearer. I was having problems with I'm not even going to bring up the excuse because I just didn't want to wear the damn mask. Don't tell me to wear a mask, you know? No. Unless you're in a situation, right, where it's contaminant, where the flu is like, right, it's all over. Yeah, you got to wear a mask. But, it was never that bad, people. It was never that bad. If you had, as to make it shorter, the COVID started to take on itself and become its own monster. So all the people that were overly sensitive with this, and especially the people that were working for the government, okay, governmental folk, even contractors working for the government, they were absolutely out of control with, you know, creating this, barrier of you had to have this, you had to have that, you had to have 2 shots, you had to have 14 masks on, you couldn't come to the building, you had to call first, you had to do all this. I mean, it absolutely got absurd. But that's the kind of people we are. I hope, not hope, I don't ever hope. I wish everybody in our country took note. Did everybody take note of what was going on? Did you? If you didn't take note of what was going on, then you're part of the problem with what happens in our country. Yeah, you overreact. You go along to get along. So if the government tells you something's wrong, you're going to go exactly with what the government is telling you, right? That's a no-no, folks. That is a absolute no-no. Now I know how it is growing up in poverty, and when the government helps you, all you know is the government because the government is some sort of assistance. They're there to help you with A, B, and C, and then so everything that happens, the government is in control. The government knows best. Well, that's always been wrong. It's never been the right answer. Okay, when you're dependent on something, you're clouded. You have cloud around your eyes. All right, it's like being in a bad marriage. Okay, maybe the person's abusing you, but you want to get used to it, right? You're dependent on these people. You want to do good. You want to you want to make sure the family doesn't fall apart. You want to, and so you put these blinders on, right? And so that when they say everything's cool, then everything's cool with you, even though you're being abused. Right? It's the same thing with the government, people. The government abuses people. All right. When they say something, you're supposed to jump. That's a bunch of bullshit. All right. It has never been designed to be that way. The government. I know. Okay. I know about the government. So when COVID was at its peak, all right, all the less sensible people, the people who are sensitive to issues that come and go in our country, these people come alive. They're like zombies. All right. They come out of the woodwork and they're all over the place. Right. And so they're causing a lot of havoc because they're the ones supporting the government's narrative of that you need to do this or you're going to die. Or here's the information that we're giving you and you need to take it serious because we're your daddy now. Right? A lot of people like that. There's a lot of folk like that. And then you got a lot of folk also that don't listen to the government. Okay? And they question the government. Right? So, and that's the balance that we have in our nation. Okay, so it's not wrong to question the government, people. It's not wrong. It's actually our duty to question the government. It's our duty, your duty, even if you're a sensitive person, to listening to everybody that tells you something. It's our duty to question the government. We run the government. We operate the government. We control the government. We pay the government to stay alive, to operate. If it wasn't for us, the people, the government wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have a United States of America. All right. So I'm having an issue with my pectoral. I go to the VA. COVID is at its peak. Okay. COVID is at its peak. The government is trying to make it almost impossible for people to not wear masks. I mean, masks are everywhere. Unbelievable. I mean, you had to wear a mask just getting up and taking a shower, for Christ's sake, right? The people wearing masks in their cars and driving. And you know what? A lot of folks laugh about it now. They laugh about it when they see it. But at its peak, people were not laughing. They were not. Nope, they were not laughing. So I'm going to the VA. COVID is at its peak. I'm having chest problems. Okay, I'm having a medical emergency. I'm going to the emergency room, people. The emergency room. I wasn't going to the janitor's office. I'm going to the emergency room. All right. So here I go to the government emergency room. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in my wheelchair, of course. I'm rolling in. All right. I'm rolling in. Then there is like a pack. Right. There are the mask Nazis. Mask Nazis. They're outside in the front of the emergency area, making sure that people have masks and they're well behaved before they come in. And I'm telling you, when COVID was at its peak, there was a lot of people trying to oppose and start putting sensibility into people's minds, saying, "Hey, we shouldn't be doing all this stuff because it's hurting people more than it is helping people." And it was. It was absolutely hurting people more than what's helping people. And I'm getting to that point. And that's exactly what happened to me. So here I go, rolling in. I'm rolling in, bada bing, bada boom. And then I get stopped by the mask Nazi. They don't want to let me in because I don't have a mask on. Okay. So I'm thinking, at the moment, I'm like, look, I'm having some chest pains. I'm in emergency. There's a protocol to having chest pains. You don't stop somebody who's having chest pains for whatever reason. You get them into where they need to be because they could be having a heart attack, for Christ's sake. How do you know? Oh, wait. You're more important to stopping people because you are the Nazi COVID government task force, right? You need to stop them. No matter what. If they're having chest pains, so what if they have a heart attack? They can have it right here. We'll come out and do a fibrillator thing on them and keep them alive, right? So that right there, people, the narrative. The go along to get along with the government sensitivity of COVID. Where I was having chest pains, I was not allowed to come in, so I started arguing with them. Hey, son of a SOV, right? Let me in. I'm having chest pain. When does this ever happen in the United States of America? No, you cannot come in. You have to have a mask. That was the only thing keeping me from going to get checked. So obviously, I wasn't having a heart attack, but who knew that? I didn't know that either. But I was definitely having some problems with this muscle going away. It was going away. It wasn't working anymore. So I was having problems with pain and discomfort, and I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was that I needed to get checked, right? Okay. So at one point, the narrative was everybody that's working here at the VA, all the government employees, let's all get together and let's stop this guy, the soldier, this veteran, from coming into this building, which is the emergency room, because he's having a what? No one knew what was going on. All they knew was that I was not allowed because they went along, go along to get along with what the narrative was, which was stop everybody from coming in because there's a problem with this person not willing to put a mask on. Even though I was having chest pains and this muscle, because of my motor function dysfunction, I was losing it. Didn't know what was going on. It was at its worst. Was hurting all this, and so I was going into emergency room. Where else would I go? Right? So I was going straight in. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I wanted, hey, I have an emergency. Can I see somebody ASAP? That's usually the routine, right? That's usually the routine. There's no putting on mask. If there's a mask, people, you need to put on. Okay, it's because something serious has broken out. Serious, not COVID. Something serious, like it's eating people up as soon as you get it. Right? Like that. I mean, they people have been known to just enclosed buildings with tarps and all sorts of stuff and deem it hazardous because you're not able to enter, but yet we were wearing masks walking around as though there was this superficial bubble around us, right? That's what we were doing, acting like it was so bad. And then of course, you got the people who, well, it was killing people. Well, it wasn't killing people. Okay, it wasn't killing people. What was happening is if you had a weak system, okay, if your system, your body not able to fight something as simple as a cold, or you're having trouble with it, right? You're sick or you're just too old. That's what happens. Is the cold will kill you. People, that's nothing new. That has been happening since we have been people. Yeah. If you have a weak immune system, or you're old, or you have another condition that, like cancer, that eats up it takes all your healing process away from getting something like a simple cold or a cough or pneumonia. Something simple, that usually we fight and we beat it naturally. It will kill you if you get COVID because it was that much stronger It wasn't like a billion times stronger. It was created to be a little bit more stronger by the Chinese, who we still haven't made accountable for. They owe us trillions of dollars, people. Trillions of dollars that they can't afford to pay. Trillions. Okay, did you hear that word right? Trillions. We owe trillions of dollars on our debt. They owe us trillions of dollars for being stupid and releasing a virus to the world. The world, not just the United States, the world. It was a flu that was just a little bit stronger to just cause that much more death around the world. That's all. That's all it was. Okay. So so the panic set in, right? So at one point, I'm rolling in. All the people were gathering together because I was wrong, right? I was having chest pains. Oh, I'm sorry you're having chest pains, but you're wrong. You shouldn't be having chest pains. Okay, I'm sorry I'm having chest pains. Well, you're not coming in because you need to wear a mask, and that supersedes your chest pains. Who said that? I said, wait, I can't come in because I can't put a mask on? What if you just check me out real quick? Make sure I'm not having a heart attack. No, you're not allowed to do that. Can you guys believe it? Right? At that point, can you guys believe it? So the narrative was around the country, don't let people in. Don't let people through. Don't go past collect $200 because you don't have a mask. Right? That was the word. That's what the narrative means. That was a word around the street, right? And the government was pushing that narrative, just like the VA is pushing the narrative to not take care of me medically. All right. So I'm fighting a governmental narrative. The government's doing all the checks and the checks and balances concerning my medical, just like the government was doing all the checks and balances for COVID. So who do you trust? Do you trust your gut instinct, or is your gut instinct tied? Is it tied to the government? You know what makes the United States strong thinking people? It does. It makes it unique. And that's why people come here. That's why they want to be here, because we have created a system, all right, of right and wrong, and we protect it. But when we fail to protect it, then we're allowed as people to fight it as an individual, whereas other countries you can't. Once the government says a no, then no means no. I don't care how much you want to try to complain about it, and you complain enough, like what I'm doing here on posting, you'll get arrested. You'll get put in prison, not jail, prison in other countries. So we're special, aren't we? Yeah. So at, at a certain point, trying to get into the VA emergency room with having chest pains, I was I was rolling in, and so the narrative was hold this person, do not allow. So they put up barriers. People were coming out of I don't know where they were coming from, but they were all piling up before me and trying to create a barrier. They're putting up these vehicle barriers. Yeah, they got them off the street. They were putting up whatever they can find to put in front of the door to get in the emergency room. I know, unbelievable. And there was two old ladies, older ladies. They were old ladies. They were holding my wheelchair as I was trying to roll. I just about flipped back and busted my head. Now, people, on federal land, the Veterans Administration is a federal. It's a federal organization. On federal, you're not allowed to carry a weapon, not to carry a knife, not allowed to have it in your vehicle. Okay. Now, if it was other than federal land and I was going somewhere, I would have had my weapon on me. It would have been a different situation. You see what I mean? So, because people are sensitive about certain things, they go along to get along. They don't know how much they're hurting other people. They don't. They create all these things like you can't go over there and do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't, it's all these limitations to something that should not be. They blew the sensitivity of COVID out the window. It's a damn shame. So, did everybody take note of that? Did you? Because that's the most important part is taking note of how people reacted to COVID, whether you think they had the power or not. Did you take note? Because that's how we react when something happens in our country. We lose it. Okay? So if you're not taking note, you need to. You need to look back on it and say, "Damn, where is some sorry MMS?" I mean, geez, we get a lit. Somebody releases something, we go bonkers, acting like we're all we're all special and oh, you're gonna kill us and right. I mean, just the experience of me being in the store with an old lady telling me, "Hey, you're gonna kill us all." That's what she said. That's what she said. You're gonna kill us all. I'm thinking, well, go home then. And I'm sure there was some. She was a white lady. I'm sure there was some. Um, what do you call it? Some profiling there, right? And I just didn't want to argue with the lady. I figured if I argue, she'd probably get into a heart attack herself. Just that alone. You know. So I gave her some room to bitch about it, and then she left. She actually left the entire store. You know, she went and complained first to the owner or whatever. They're not wearing a mask, and I'm not going to come shop here anymore. Right? And so you see the repercussions of what happens. Those are the repercussions. The people who are overly sensitive, the people who are yes, they're serious profilers. Maybe they're racial people. Maybe they're people that are they're not very people get along with other people kind of type. They're very isolated in their own little worlds. They come out and they want to make a point, and they will make it. And so everybody else goes along with that narrative. You see, so that's what's happening to me, right? The powers that be in the government are pushing a narrative, which is the VA. Okay, you don't have a central nervous system to function. Well, then my question is, well, what do I have then? Well, we've done like 100 tests on you: MRIs, EMGs, PET scans, I mean, tick bite, blood checking stuff, and you don't have. At the time, I didn't have diabetes, but at that time, I was like, you don't have diabetes, you don't have, you know, Lyme disease, you don't have MS, you don't have cancer, you don't have, all these things were checked off the box, right? Don't have this, don't have that. And I went through it several times because it always kept going to somebody who knew better than I did, or the doctor before them. Go check for that, and they send me be like, "What? Okay, so let's check it again," and we check it again. I don't know how many MRIs people I got. I don't know. It's more than 12. I have more than 12 MRIs done over the 8 years. Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere around 30 some MRIs. Yeah, right. So it's dangerous, folks. It's a dangerous situation when someone like the government, okay, you don't have to hate the government. You need to support it, but it needs to be supported in the manner of it being there to assist, not to control. All right, and right now they're controlling my situation because it's being allowed to. It's being allowed to. Right? The standard operating procedures in the VA, the people that are allowing that to happen, they're saying that supersedes anything that I am trying to tell them. So I'm the one that went to Iraq. Okay, I went to tour in Iraq. They didn't go. I did. But my story does not does not supersede, which means it does not take place over any of the policies and procedures in the VA. My story. So if there's a reason why I got it, the injury that I have sustained overseas, it's being ignored because they'd rather follow their policies and procedures to create a narrative to say, no, I don't think that happened. Well, then how did it happen? Was I walking my dog and I slipped and fell? I hit myself, my head on the floor, which will happen. But come on, people. Was I walking? Was I walking? Was I rolling down the street and a meteor hit me on the head? And now I have a central nervous system dysfunction. Am I going in with that ridiculous story? There was a volcano in wherever volcanoes are in Hawaii. And one of the rocks that blew out of the mountain came all the way over here to Ore Valley, Tucson, Arizona, hit me on the head, and now I have a central nervous system dysfunction. Am I claiming that story? Maybe I should claim a ridiculous story. It may go through. Huh? They're like, why didn't you just say so in the first place, man? Rocks from volcanoes hit people all the time. So my story of being in Iraq, having 2 head injuries with a back injury and a hand injury were the most serious injuries I've sustained, caused lots of problems. The 2 head injuries, especially with the back injury, caused what I have today. And just because I was able to come home and still walk, I was having problems. Nobody was checking me out. Okay. Once I got released from active duty being in Iraq, it becomes a whole different situation, people. All right. I was released to work on the border mission, trying to keep illegals from coming into our country. And it was aggravated. But thank God I was there, because if I wasn't, it probably would have took some time before I started to figure out, without the aggravation, that I was having a central nervous system dysfunction. If I didn't get the surgery back then, I was having so many problems with, oh boy, I wouldn't have known immediately what was going on, right? But it has created so much problem because of the narrative. People are saying one thing, I'm saying another. And so when they say it, the government, it's true. When I say it, it's a fib. It's a lie. It's not accurate, they say. Right? And so who's been advocating for me to correct it? Because in our country, in the United States of America, we have a process. We have a standard of helping others that are in some sort of debacle, in some sort of conflict, right? Because it's got to get resolved somehow. You can't just not have it resolved. That's why we have laws and rules, right? We're a law-abiding country, right? So at some point, folks. I hear a lot of folks saying this now. At some point, someone has to come real and say, you know what? I don't want to hear a story. I don't want to hear, where's the proof of him having this injury? I don't want to hear, did he even go to Iraq? What I see in front of me is a veteran that has sustained two injuries overseas that are critical enough to say, and deem combat injuries, or they don't have to be combat injuries, but mine are combat injuries, service connected injuries, whether it's documented fully or not. And this veteran is having some critical issues, having motor function dysfunction. You can see him. He can't move. Where would he have sustained those? Well, it does seem like he was in Iraq. And no one can put that together? Isn't there a policy in the VA? Yes, 38 CFR, something or other, that says give the veteran the benefit of the doubt clause, because if doctors, nurses, and everybody that has evaluated him just can't find the silver lining of what's going on, which is a lot of cases for TBIs alone, just TBIs. It's very difficult to point out TBIs unless it's so bad that you have a pole going through your head, or you got blown up and part of your brain is missing, you got shrapnel. Then there's some obvious evidence there. But if you don't have any, which is a lot of veterans, it's very difficult to see a cell-to-cell dysfunction at all. If you do, you are able to see it. And so you see this veteran. Who are his advocates? He has none. Wait a minute. I don't understand. Everybody has advocates at some point. He has none. He's been crying about it. That he's past the point of somebody advocating for him, because nobody wants to take it on, because they're just worried about their SOP, under their SOP with the government, which he's trying to get and reevaluated for it and have it deemed a TBI. And there's no other reason for him to deem it anything else than a TBI. What else would you give it? Would you give it a toe, like your toe? A toe ache that's causing all his problems? No. Would you call it his diabetes? No, because he didn't have the diabetes while he was having problems with that. But now that he has diabetes, that is not causing his paralysis. Is it his cancer? He has no cancer. Is it his multiple sclerosis? He has no multiple sclerosis. Is it Lyme disease? No, he has no Lyme disease. Right? Parkinson's. No, he has no Parkinson's. How about a stroke? He has not had a stroke. All right, so what you're telling me is all this has been checked by the government and the community. Oh, I get you. So he has no advocacy because people have caught on to this narrative being pushed by the VA and other folks in the government realm, that it's complicated and that he has been tested for these things. He doesn't have anything, so we're just going to go off that and not apply any standard operating procedures that will benefit him to this veteran. That's what's going on. So nothing has been done. No. Literally no one that he has approached or is approaching at the moment, like he's approaching, he has done it in the past, approaching politicians that will advocate for him, because that's what politicians do. That's part of their job, is to advocate for a veteran, not to send out a memo to say, can you please help this veteran who's been complaining about me, get him off my back, check the box so we can move on, which has been happening to me. Instead, he's getting the runaround. Well, that can't happen. In the severity that he has, that's impossible. That's what the VA complaint department says about me. That's what they say about this dude, this Sergeant De Leon. We've never heard of a complaint like that. That's impossible to have that. With the severity of what's going on with you, how does that happen? That's what I got. Yeah. And so the narrative is controlling everything. Everything I do, whether I want to go into an emergency room, I'm having chest pains, and they won't let me in because I don't have a mask on. People go along with it, and they hurt you. It doesn't help. That's why they call us the United States of America, freedom, the free country, the freest country on the planet. It's true. It is true. So, the narrative is important, people. Don't let what they call while I was growing up, don't let them school you. Okay? I've been pushed around all my life with school. You know, I actually wanted to be a football player, but my grades weren't good enough and nobody wanted to help me. And I didn't know anything about, trying to ask for help with somebody to help me with tutoring. And, a lot of dumb football players out there, right? So that kind of ruined my situation. Well, a bunch of things, right? There's a bunch of things that we go through in life. But when you're having a medical issue, right, and I'm talking about in general, in any country in the world, on the planet, and you're having a medical issue, at some point, you start to get addressed. Like they start addressing why you can't do this, why you're doing that, what's this about, what's going on with you, what's right. At some point, it happens. Okay? Because one, it's a moral issue. You're not going to leave somebody lying around in some bed with cancer eating their body and nobody wants to do anything about it. That's a moral issue. That's absurd. Somebody's accountable for that. And then when you bring it to the United States, now let's start talking about the United States. What makes us special is we're on it, especially with the promise, right? We have a volunteer military. Nobody's being drafted into the military anymore. All right? They ask you, would you like to join the military? Because you can help the United States of America. And you yes or no, right? That's what makes us special. And the more people that volunteer to get into it, the stronger it seems, right? There will be a statistical number to how many people have been volunteering to be in the service. And that brings up a good point. I recommend, even in the state that I'm in, I'm a fighter. Okay, I'm a fighter, and I'm fighting for my status after the service, and I have it no other way. I mean, it'd be nice to have nothing wrong, but since it does have complications, give it all to me. Go ahead, make it as difficult as you want. I'm going to keep fighting because that is what a veteran does, right? Especially if your disposition is to fight. So join the service. You guys got to get rid of this CRT, critical race theory that's going around, which is completely destroying people's idea of who we are. You got to get rid of it. Okay? It's like profiling, critical race theory. You're profiling everything. Well, I don't like the way you're learning that. Okay? So critical race theory should be nowhere on the table to be discussed right now. It should be a matter that people should argue about, like in school, or how about this, how about that, right? It should be a matter to be discussed, but it shouldn't be as blown up as it is right now. It should not. I'm telling you guys, the narrative. Once the word bullet, once the word gets around that certain things a certain way, then people are going to take it and run with it. You've seen it with the COVID. You've seen it with the COVID. All right. It could ruin a lot of people's lives. And it has. Okay. So who are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? I know who I'm blaming for my situation. Right. I got several departments that I need to make sure that they are held accountable. One is, of course, the VA. And so I'm in my fight. I need people's help to do it because that's not who we are. Is to leave somebody behind. Right? So that was my post for today, was learning about people's intention to create the word on the street of this is how things are working and we need to all follow along. That's a very, very, very dangerous scenario. Okay. If anything, you should be teaching your kids. Okay. Do not. All right. Do not monkey see, monkey do. All right. Simple, right? You see somebody jump off a bridge. Are you going to jump off a bridge too? I mean, how long has that been going along? And now it seems like it's applicable, right? So, so the narrative again, folks, is I'm battling the narrative. I'm battling a narrative that is controlling my medical status. Okay, and I'm fighting that. And at the same time, I'm taking note on the accountability of whose job exactly is it to attach or uh, to assign this veteran here advocacy. I can't possibly be doing this all on my own, can I? I mean, battling the government by yourself is impossible. You can't do it. So 8 to 10 years, it hasn't been sorted out. I'm not going for another 8 to 10 years just so somebody can sort it out, right? I've already tried to go through different types of organizations to get the assistance, but I've been told through other organizations like DAV that adjudication at this point will not help me because I have other things that are pending that have happened that need to be held accountable. That people need to be held accountable for it. And until that's resolved, I can't move forward with getting a change of medical or a medical status of a TBI and everything that comes with it. No one's going to want to sort it out. Any medical supervisor way up here that's supposed to be doing that. So it's going to take a special situation to deal with it. And I'm cool with that. Let's get it moving. Right? Why am I waiting? Well, I'm waiting and I'm complaining about it. That it's taking too damn long. Right? I'm having all these issues of losing more and more motor function, people. More and more motor function every single time. And so I've had enough of it. I'm going to be pretty much comatose on a wheelchair, and I won't be able to advocate for myself anymore. And that may be positive for some people, like the VA organization, right? So that's going to end. But again, the narrative is that I don't have a legitimate reason to be complaining. That's the narrative. And we know that's completely absurd. I mean, it's absurd to the definition of the, cheese. And so we'll sort it out. It'll be sorted out, and I'm gonna definitely make sure that somebody gets their butt in a ringer. Okay, I want butt. Yeah, I'll tell you. And so that's the end of this post. Thanks for listening. It's Sunday. It's the day of the Lord. Reflect on it. And we'll do this again tomorrow, Monday, a work day. And I'll see if I have anything new for you guys. I did give you guys an update on the House Select Committee under Veteran Affairs. They cannot help me, they say, because I need to send it back to my congressperson. And if you know the story on that, well, then, there it is. And so now I'm subject to dealing with a lower, um, uh, a lower part of advocacy when I'm trying to get the highest um, people to deal with my case. I do have a little bit of a plan here that I'm trying to attack this week. I was trying to do it this last week, but I was falling under a lot of I guess depression. My energy's low. I can't think straight. It's stuff that I wish I wouldn't have. You know, and so I'm trying to fight it, and so it's taking up a lot of my time. So, but this week I'm going to try to get on it, and I got a couple more people I need to write, and I'm waiting right now. My time is ticking on Kirsten Cinema. It's also ticking on Tom O'Halloran, and I want to see what they could do for me in the next time's ticking, next moment or two. All right. So even on a Sunday, people, under God's day, I'm getting worse. What are you doing? Are you enjoying your Sunday? Are you living a life of happiness, Are you, are you ailment free? Do you have no pain? You have no serious medical issues? You're going forward. Not me. So I hope, I wish Kirsten Sinema and Tom O'Halloran have a plan, immediate plan, like bam plan, like tomorrow. Okay, they can call me now if they want. All right, or they can hire me. I'm for hire. Okay, I seriously am. I'm for hire. I can fix all your guys' problems. You know why? Because that's what I do. I'm I'm very. Here's my resume: 8 to 10 years battling the VA and everyone else around them, even our dignitaries. Okay, with no success, but have learned from 8 to 10 years. What is that? A master's degree? Learned a lot about the ins and outs, policies, procedures, and I am actually a injured veteran dealing with it. So, um, let's end it there, and I'll see you guys. Update you with what's going on in tomorrow and this week. Maybe I'll get something good to move forward with, and if not, you guys please keep pushing. Just send Tom O'Halloran, our congressperson, or send your congressperson in your district. Just send them a quick note. Just say, hey, are you watching this guy's video? You don't have to explain. You don't have to do nothing. Make them work for their money. Okay? Make them work. They can sit there and tell you, oh, I got a lot on my plate. No, you don't. I'll tell you when you got a lot on your plate. Right? I can tell you they are not doing their duty to over and above of which they need to do. Everybody can do their job. There's nothing special about their job, people. There's nothing special about being a senator. There's nothing special about being a governor. It's how you do it. It's how active you are in implementing all the stuff that is available to you. All right? When somebody asks you for help, promote it. Say, hey, this is who I've contacted. This is who has contacted me. This is what's going on. That's working it. Showing that you are using your job description to help people. Because that's your job. Don't sit there and give me this crap of you're helping Ukraine. Your priority, okay, is to help our communities. No matter what. Don't start with this, foreign or domestic crap. That's my job. And that's what I was doing. And I'll continue to do it in any state that I am. I will protect this country, foreign and domestic. That's my job. You leave that job up to me and people like me and more able-bodied people. Okay? So thanks for listening. We'll get back with you.